Every coastline holds stories the sand forgets too quickly. Beneath sunlit waves lie currents and patterns shaped over centuries, forces most visitors never notice. We begin at Miami Beach, where the coastline's quiet beauty conceals forces most visitors never see. Number 5, Miami Beach, Florida. Miami Beach looks exactly how brochures promise it will: bright water, warm sand, and a coastline that feels alive from sunrise to midnight. It's easy to settle in, to assume the ocean here is as gentle as it appears. But what visitors don't realize is, the calm surface hides a few risks that locals know well. The biggest comes from the water itself. Miami's shoreline is known for rip currents, narrow rivers of fast-moving water that form without much warning. They're not dramatic. They don't look dangerous. A swimmer can be standing comfortably one moment, and the next, the current begins pulling them farther from shore with steady force. Lifeguards here perform rescues on an almost daily basis, simply because many swimmers underestimate how quickly a peaceful swim can turn into a struggle against the ocean's momentum. Here's where the real danger begins. Rip currents in Miami aren't obvious. The waves may look harmless. The sky might be completely clear. But the pull beneath the surface can be strong enough to catch even confident swimmers by surprise. There's another layer visitors often forget: the marine life. Miami sits along an active coastal ecosystem, including shark migration paths. Encounters are usually brief and accidental, caused by shared space and murky visibility rather than any intent to attack. The region sees notable shark activity because it's a natural intersection of warm water, bait fish, and human recreation. Most of the time, swimmers never know how close they came to passing marine life just a few feet away. The weather adds its own unpredictability. Miami is positioned along a route where tropical storms and hurricanes can develop quickly. On most days, the ocean is calm and welcoming. But when storms move in, the coastline shifts dramatically. Waves build higher than usual. Currents strengthen. Sandbars collapse and reform. Storm surge can erase entire sections of beach overnight, reshaping familiar areas in a single event. Even after a major storm leaves, the water doesn't immediately return to normal. Swells stay uneven, currents behave differently. Debris and shifting sand make the ocean temporarily harder to read. It's a quiet kind of instability, easy to overlook, but very real. And yet, Miami Beach remains one of the most visited shorelines in the country. People come for warmth, nightlife, and that postcard-perfect view of the Atlantic. Most days are completely safe. Most swims are uneventful. But the mix of strong currents, active marine life, and changing weather patterns means this coastline asks for a little more attention than it outwardly demands. Miami Beach is beautiful, yes, but it works on its own terms. Understanding the risks doesn't take away from the experience. It simply lets visitors enjoy the water with the awareness it deserves. At number 4, Indialantic Beach, Florida. Indialantic doesn't advertise itself loudly. It's a slim stretch of sand bordered by low-rise buildings, quieter than the beaches that draw national attention. Visitors often arrive expecting a calm, easygoing shoreline. But what many don't realize is, this beach is shaped by forces far stronger than its modest appearance suggests. The waves here break differently. They hit with more weight, more speed, more push. Even on days when the ocean looks manageable, the water has a habit of shifting its energy without warning. Swimmers step in expecting gentle surf, only to meet a pull that feels deeper and more persistent than they planned for. Rip currents are the main concern along this coast. They form quickly, often in places that look perfectly safe. And once you're in one, it feels less like swimming and more like being guided by a narrow underwater path you never meant to follow. These currents behave like long, invisible hallways, easy to enter, difficult to escape. Lifeguards here know how fast a simple swim can become a rescue situation. Here's where the real risk becomes clear. Indialantic's currents don't announce themselves. The water doesn't darken. The waves don't roar. Everything looks normal until you feel the steady pull toward deeper water. Marine life adds another layer of caution. The waters off Indialantic are active, warm, fish-rich, and part of a natural movement corridor for sharks. Encounters along this stretch of coast are not uncommon, not because sharks seek out human activity, but because humans step into an ecosystem with its own patterns and priorities. Most interactions end harmlessly, but their presence is a reminder that this stretch of ocean is busy beneath the surface, even when it looks serene from the sand. Weather conditions also shape the identity of this beach. Swells from distant storms can reach the Indialantic long before bad weather arrives. A beach that seems safe in the morning can become challenging by afternoon as tides shift and winds pick up. And because the shoreline is relatively narrow, changes in wave height or current strength are felt more immediately than on wider beaches. After major weather events, the ocean here stays unsettled for days. It's the kind of beach where local knowledge makes a noticeable difference in safety. Despite these challenges, Indialantic remains a favorite for people who understand and respect the Atlantic's temperament. It attracts surfers, seasoned swimmers, and those who appreciate a quieter coastline with a bit of natural intensity. Most days pass without incident. Most visits are peaceful. But Indialantic isn't a beach that rewards complacency. It's a place where the ocean feels more like a system than scenery, something functional, powerful, and entirely uninterested in human expectations. Number 3, Daytona Beach, Florida. Daytona Beach stretches wide and level, a long open runway of sand that seems to go on forever. Visitors spread out easily here. Families set up tents, surfers watch the swell, and the beach feels built for crowds. But what people don't realize is, Daytona's ocean has a quiet habit of changing its conditions faster than most expect. The shoreline looks friendly, but the water is where the real story unfolds. Rip currents are a well-known challenge on this coast. They form quickly, sometimes in areas that look entirely harmless, and once they take hold, they pull with a steady, determined force. There is nothing dramatic about them, no towering waves, no obvious warning signs, just a subtle shift in water that becomes a powerful conveyor pulling swimmers away from shore. Rescues happen regularly here because the transition from safe to dangerous can be so sudden. Daytona's currents don't feel unpredictable. They feel consistent, familiar, and reliable in the wrong way. They appear often enough that lifeguards read them like a second language, small patterns in the surf, slight changes in watercolor, breaks in the waves. But visitors rarely notice those details. To someone unfamiliar with the ocean's behavior, Daytona's water seems stable until the moment it isn't. Beneath the surface, another factor shapes the coastline's reputation: shark activity. This part of Florida sits along an active marine corridor, busy with migrating species and schools of bait fish. Encounters happen because the water is full of life: fish feeding, predators following, currents shifting everything along. Most interactions are brief and harmless, but the frequency of sightings is a reminder that Daytona is part of a much larger ecosystem, one that existed here long before the hotels and highways. Weather compounds the risks. Daytona lies in a region shaped by tropical storms and hurricanes, and every season brings changes to the underwater landscape. Storms push sandbars into new formations, deepen channels, and alter where rip currents form. A beach that behaves one way in spring may behave differently in late summer, simply because the seafloor has been rearranged by distant weather. Even when the sky is clear, the ocean may still be carrying the energy of storms that passed hundreds of miles away. This coastline is constantly rewriting itself. Despite all this, Daytona Beach remains one of the most visited stretches of sand in the state. People come for the wide shoreline, the ease of access, and the feeling that the beach is straightforward and familiar. And most days, for most visitors, it is. But Daytona isn't a place where danger hides behind drama. It's a place where danger shows up regularly, quietly, steadily, almost predictably. And in a way, that consistency is what makes it so deceptive. Number 2, Laguna Beach, Panama City area, Florida. This is not the Laguna Beach of California fame. Along the Gulf of Mexico, the water glows emerald and the sky hangs low and warm. It's a serene, inviting scene. But what visitors don't realize is, beauty here can be deceiving. The Gulf appears calm, almost still. But under the surface, the water has a rhythm all its own. Currents move like invisible sculptors, reshaping the sandbars and the seafloor in ways swimmers rarely notice. One moment the ocean is shallow and gentle. The next, a pull can take you outward, relentless and precise. Rip currents form suddenly. They're narrow and fast, easy to miss, difficult to escape. Even experienced swimmers sometimes find themselves swept along unexpectedly. It's a quiet danger, the kind that waits beneath the waves, patient and unannounced. The real risk begins with the water itself. It's not about what's swimming in it. It's about how it behaves, how it moves, how it reacts, how a single misstep can turn a calm swim into a struggle. Shark encounters occur less frequently than in other parts of Florida, but the ocean is still an ecosystem in motion, warm, active, and alive with fish. Humans step into it as visitors, never the masters. And even brief encounters are reminders that this coastline is shared territory. The weather adds another layer of unpredictability. Hurricanes sweep through the Gulf regularly, sending energy and waves that linger long after the skies have cleared. What looks like a normal, sunny day may hide currents still restless from a distant storm. Sandbars can vanish. Shallow areas can drop off suddenly. The ocean's surface doesn't always reveal what lies below. Even when the waves appear small, they can hide undercurrents strong enough to pull swimmers off balance. The Gulf teaches lessons subtly but consistently. Respect the water, or it will remind you why you should. Laguna Beach isn't theatrical in its danger. There are no giant breaking waves announcing their presence. No roar, no warning. Instead, it moves quietly, with intention, reshaping the shore and the water with every tide. A single lapse in awareness can lead to trouble. Many visitors leave unaware that a small change in behavior, understanding the currents, paying attention to conditions, makes all the difference. These beaches won't reveal their full story if you don't stay alert. And speaking of stretches of sand that hide both beauty and risk, the next coastline shows just how unpredictable Florida's waters can be. At number 1, New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Then there is New Smyrna, a stretch of sand that seems calm at first glance. Soft waves lap the shore, sunlight glimmers on the water, crowds stroll along the sand. But what visitors don't realize is, this beach has a reputation few others can match. The waters here sit at a junction, currents, inlets, and feeding grounds all converging. The result is an ocean that moves with intention. Rip currents form quickly and with strength. Once caught, the water doesn't just pull. It grips, sweeping swimmers sideways or out to deeper water almost before they notice. Sharks are part of this picture too. Not because they seek humans, but because this area is part of a living, moving ecosystem. Surfers, swimmers, and small fish all share the same space. Movements blur, shadows shift. Curiosity and proximity create encounters that remind visitors just how active these waters are. The danger becomes clear with the combination. Rip currents and wildlife are amplified by weather. Hurricanes and tropical storms churn the seabed, shifting sandbars and deepening channels. Even after the sky clears, the ocean carries the energy of these storms. Waves and currents behave differently. Sandbars disappear or reform, and the shoreline is never exactly the same from day to day. Despite all this, people are drawn here. Surfers come for the challenge, swimmers for the sun, families for the wide, soft sand. Most visits are uneventful. Most days pass without incident. But New Smyrna doesn't announce its risks with flashing signs or roaring waves. Its danger is quiet, precise, and persistent. It asks visitors to pay attention to the water, the conditions, and the signs that the ocean leaves behind. And here's a small tip for anyone exploring these waters. Understanding the currents and respecting the patterns of the ocean changes everything. Overlooking this, even briefly, can turn a normal day at the beach into a struggle against something far larger than yourself. If you think this stretch of sand is intense, keep watching. There are lessons here about the balance of nature, human curiosity, and the hidden forces that shape every coastline. New Smyrna Beach stretches beyond being a simple shoreline. It's a place where the Atlantic reveals its rhythm, both mesmerizing and exacting. Every wave, every current, reminds those who enter that the ocean moves on its own terms. Steady, relentless, and always in motion. The water is timeless, moving by rules older than we can imagine. Beauty and danger coexist here, quietly demanding respect. And the story doesn't end with the last wave. It lingers, waiting for the next to enter its rhythm. Join us for the next discovery.